Welcome to the Berea Podcast. This is Troy with a solo intro here. Della has 3 things she has to do before we can eat dinner, so I just came out here on the front porch and recorded this intro. You might hear the chains creaking in the background, maybe hear some kids in the background playing. Down in Old Town Berea, there's a store named Fiber Frenzy, and they were recently featured in another podcast in the state. Here in Kentucky, there is a Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium, and they have a farm with state fair prize-winning wool. So they're a pretty big deal, and they featured Fiber Frenzy. And Madeline and Alex agreed that I could share that episode on this episode of the Berea Podcast. Now, there's one footnote. It is a little bit dated. They talk about workshops and that kind of thing. And Fiber Frenzy is featured at the very beginning. Feel free to listen to that whole show. And there's going to be lots of show notes about Ballyhoo and all the work that they do in Fiber Frenzy. So go over to thebereapodcast.com/fiber. And you'll get to see some pictures and links. One of those links that is very current, not dated, is if you go into Fiber Frenzy right now, right by the front door, there's a basket. And it has dryer balls in it. They're balls of miscellaneous yarn that rather than dryer sheets, you put this ball in your clothes dryer. And it helps with wrinkles, and it's a very eco-friendly way to take care of your clothes. And there's a picture of one of these dryer balls there as well. So go on over there. And if you hear of Berea things being featured on other podcasts or something that you want to make us aware, send me an email. It's troy@thebereapodcast.com. or Della at thebereapodcast.com. We'll start their episode right now, and their show will be the rest of this episode. So thanks so much for listening. Talk to you soon.
Welcome to Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium, a podcast for fiber producers and artists. I'm your host, Madeline Norman. Today's show features an interview with Joan Beck of the local yarn shop Fiber Frenzy in Berea, Kentucky, whose tagline is aptly everything you yarn for. We'll be discussing local yarn shops and consignment programs. So Joan, tell me a little bit about your background in fiber.
I only learned to knit about 10 years ago, so I came to this rather late in life. But when I took that course at the local extension office, not only did it open my eyes to a whole world of color and texture that I never knew existed, but it also opened my heart to a community of women, and a few men too, who are like-minded and ever so supportive of each other and the things going on in our lives. So it's a short story, but it's been a wonderful one.
Isn't that fabulous? I think this is the only industry I know of that actually brings people together. There are no mean people in fiber.
That is absolutely true. And let me give you a little story about that. 2 of our local producers, 2 women who have small flocks of different breeds of sheep, rather than viewing it as a competition, they have cooperated to swap fiber and create different blends for both labels that really has expanded the market for both of them, rather than limiting the market for one or the other. That's the kind of people who are in the fiber business.
Yeah, at Lexington this year, there was a guy who didn't plan well enough for the festival, shall we say, and other producers had no problem chipping in and bringing him what he needed, and they didn't require any compensation for it, just so that everybody was happy together. How did you come to develop Fiber Frenzy? Tell me a little bit about that journey, because it's pretty fascinating.
Well, we started a little knitting club at the local library. And first off, I need to give a real shout out to the Madison County Public Library, which will develop programming to fit the needs of all of the constituents. So we started this little knitting club, and through that, I came to meet my partners in this business. As we were following our life journeys, we all independently started thinking about, gee, wouldn't it be cool if there was a local yarn shop in Berea? Oh, wouldn't it be really cool if we had a local yarn shop in Berea? So it took us almost a year of planning to create the business plan, to form a company, work out our bylaws of how we would run our business, obtain some financing, find a place, and set down roots. And that's been 3 years ago.
And you've just recently expanded.
Yes, and we'll be expanding again. In May, we moved from the main thoroughfare of Berea down to the Artisan Village in the Old Town area of Berea, near the Visitor Center and in the community where other artists are plying their craft. Now we are located in a quaint little yarn cottage at 137A North Broadway.
And you have a beautiful garden space for workshops.
Oh man, is it ever beautiful. And the Berea Arts Council has been working on it in the last 2 weeks, and we'll have a tea party in the newly renovated garden
Oh, beautiful.
on September 12th.
That's wonderful.
So if you happen to be in Berea, stop down for a little tea and refreshments in our garden.
Absolutely. And enjoy the space. The shop is wonderful. It's full of light and color and beautiful places to sit and knit. So bring your project. Enjoy the tea.
Yes, indeed.
Talk a little bit for people who aren't familiar or live outside Kentucky about what makes Berea special, because you have developed your shop in a really unique area.
Berea is known as the arts and crafts capital of America, and it is truly a little microcosm of heritage skills in this little enclave that developed around Berea College. So it has a strong history of weaving, basketry, woodworking, and things like that. And in the recent past, it's also developed an enclave of painters, both watercolor and oil paint, muralists, and a large variety of textile artists as well. So we really couldn't be in a better place. In the area where we are located, there's an art studio with potters and painters across the street. There's Weaver's Bottom weaving studio. There's glass blowers, you name it. The blacksmiths, just all incredible artists right in this little, maybe 4 square block area.
It seems kind of odd that there wasn't a yarn shop there before you.
It really does, doesn't it?
Like fiber arts just kind of got left out. You have so many wonderful programs, like your tea and your retreat that you have in January. The last time I came down to see you, it was a week-long program that you were part of.
This is something that the Berea Tourism Commission does twice a year, and they put together a series of arts and crafts classes for an amazing array of interests. They do it in the summer when they call it the Festival of Learn Shop, and in December it's the Make It Take It Festival, and we participate in both of those. In the Make It Take It, the goal is to have a class that will result in something suitable for gifting for the holidays in a half a day's time.
Wow.
So they're fun classes, they're fast classes, and you end up with a great gift.
That's fabulous. Why did you decide to include a consignment program for local producers and artists in your shop?
This really was a no-brainer. Berea, it really caters to the tourists who are traveling through, particularly those who come to Berea for the arts and crafts heritage that's here. So it seemed to me that it would be good if we could offer locally produced fiber to those folks, especially who are traveling through. And this also tied in with the whole sustainable agriculture movement that is really a prime focus in Berea. We wondered how we could accommodate both of those things. Typically, fiber producers in Kentucky are pretty small operations, and they don't create enough to supply a big box store or a major producer. But what they produce is really beautiful, and in terms of great texture and a holistic approach to agriculture. We tried to figure out a way that we could do that wouldn't be really expensive to us, and that would help create a market where the end product was still affordable to the consumer and made a good contribution to the agricultural endeavor. So the way we did that was through a consignment program. So we take local fiber, rather than buying it at wholesale and selling it at retail, we take it on consignment. And that way our markup can be much lower because we don't have a cost of financing involved, and we can reduce a greater portion of the sale price we can return to the producer. So it's really a win-win. And I know for a fact that some of our producers have been able to keep their animals because of our program, because we have provided that incremental increase in the farm income that allowed them to keep feeding the animals and stay on the farm. And that's a really great thing.
Absolutely.
That in itself is a huge benefit to me for this business.
Yeah, it's beautiful how the local yarn shop, it seems almost like a library, one of those extraneous things. We have the internet now, we don't need that. But it has really become a center of the fiber community in Berea and the surrounding area, I think.
Oh, it really is. And yeah, you can go online and buy yarn from all the major producers, and you'll probably beat our price a little bit. But in my opinion, I want to see and feel and touch that yarn first. I want to see if the color is vibrant, if they're consistent. Is this going to feel great against my skin? What does this yarn tell me it wants to be when it grows up? And those are things you can't do on the internet.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that's the value of a local yarn shop.
Yeah, actually, as I've been developing my site, that's a challenge for me, trying to sell yarns online. It's so tactile, what we do. Touch is such an important part of it, in visual images as well, but the accuracy of visual images. Because I know I've purchased stuff online before that came and it was not the color that it was in the photo. And it was beautiful, but not what I expected.
Right, but not what you expect, yeah.
So how do you translate that into truth in advertising on the internet, that same tactile experience that you get at a local yarn shop or a festival or on the farm?
It's really difficult. But I suppose when you go shopping on the internet, you have to go with a different mindset.
Sure.
That you'll be satisfied with whatever it is that comes in the mail.
Right.
Because you really don't know how the yarn is going to behave until you have a chance to play with it a little bit.
True. How did you decide which growers to accept? You didn't run them through an audition process?
Not a formal audition process, no. But we started with the few growers that we were aware of here in our county. Mm-hmm. And that was a really good start. From there, my partners and I started going to fiber festivals and seeing firsthand what the local producers had to offer. When you go to a fiber festival and you see, hey, they're doing great business over there. Look at all the people who want to buy that fiber. Oh, look at that fleece that won the best in show. I wonder what else she's doing right for her flock. So those kinds of things go into the decisions about who we approach to ask if they're interested in participating in our local yarn program.
Mm-hmm. And then did you cap that at any point? Like, we're only going to take the first 20.
We have not done that yet. The floor space in our shop will always be a limiting factor. We don't have a formal threshold at this point. So we're still interested in carrying more and a greater variety of local fiber. We want to share with the world what Kentucky has to offer.
Do you think you'll ever have to cap it? Because like you said, with local producers, we tend to have small flocks and so limited quantities of product to send.
It would be a great problem to have. But as of the end of our first 3 years of business, it hasn't been a problem so far.
Yay.
What has been a concern on occasion is that we'll have a great run on a particular local yarn, and all of a sudden that producer is out.
Oh.
And so sometimes supply can't keep up with demand.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
is a great problem to have.
Yes, indeed. That actually keeps people coming back.
It does.
What are the benefits to consumers of local or handmade products? I know sometimes it's hard to explain to consumers that something has value, when they can get it machine-made.
The value is in being mindful of your local economy because when you spend $1 locally, that dollar gets respent and turned over at least 7 times. So when you buy that local fiber, the other side of it is that the transportation cost and the carbon footprint is much lower. When you're buying something local at a local yarn shop, you are giving your money to someone who's going to shop in your grocery store and shop at your hardware store and buy feed at your local feed mill. And that money gets turned over and over, and those are the people who pay the taxes to support your local school system and who are benefited by your same police and fire. So they're all part of your local community, and that's what keeps the community strong. You're supporting and saying that you value the sustainably produced agricultural product, that you value those heritage skills that have been passed down from mother to daughter and father to son for generations. It's a big deal.
It is. What are your plans for Fiber Frenzy in the future?
Oh, funny you should ask that. We are going to be expanding again into the remainder of the building in which we are currently located. So that's going to be a great thing. We hope to add to our spinning product. We continue to offer classes almost every day of the week in knitting, crocheting, spinning, felting, all those cool things. And I certainly can't forget to mention our retreat, which we have January 29th to 31st. It's called Pins and Needles. It will be held at the Boone Tavern in Berea. Workshops and fun centered around knit, crochet, spinning, and quilting. The registration fee covers all instruction. There are additional materials fees depending on what courses you sign up for. There's a total of 18 workshops to choose from, and in addition we have trunk shows and fun activities in the evenings and all kinds of good stuff like that. This will be our 3rd year for doing that, and each year we have grown substantially. We've had folks from California, Virginia, Florida, New York, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, all over. So it's a really great opportunity to meet some wonderful people from all around our country.
And to meet you.
Yeah, because we always have fun.
The photos from last year looked great. I was sad I couldn't go. Maybe this year.
Yeah, we always have a really good time. It's such a nice group of people. We've had returning people every year, plus some new ones.
Awesome.
I hope you'll join us. Please visit our website, which is fiberfrenzy.net. And there you can learn about what classes we have coming up. There's a lot of activities going on in Berea throughout September and October, including First Friday activities, street fair on the first Friday in September, but also in October. So visit Berea.com to get the schedule of other events going on in Berea, and check out on our website the schedule for the Pins and Needles retreat. Madeline, I can't thank you enough for the work that you've done to promote the fiber industry.
Oh,
and we're really, really happy to be able to carry Ballyhoo Farm spinning fibers and yarn.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice to hear, Joan. I really, really, really enjoy working with you, actually. You're my favorite yarn shop to deal with.
Cool.
Yeah, and I love coming down. I love that I have an excuse to go down there. It's a beautiful area, and this is a beautiful time of year. So really, if you can tear yourself away from home, it's worth driving down there. Is there any other contact information? Ravelry, Facebook?
Yes, you can find us on Ravelry Group. It's Fiber Frenzy Ravelry Group, and we have several ongoing discussions there, so you can join our group there and participate in the fun. You can email us, fiberfrenzy.org@gmail.com, or there's a contact us through our website. Our phone number is 859-986-3832. We're located at 137A North Broadway Street in Berea, 40403. We're closed on Sundays and Wednesdays. Otherwise, we're open 10 to 6. Come and see us.
Thank you so much for being my guest today, Joan. I really appreciate the information, and hopefully some people out there will sign up for the Pins and Needles retreat, because that is great fun in the middle of winter.
Thanks so much.
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. And I should have been an opera singer.
That's a lot of motion. What are you doing there, Brick?
Using my new, we'll call it a Mayan hybrid spindle.
You're spinning some
Cotswold. I was bidding on an online auction that had a lot of fiber items, and I got a lot of mostly fiber for spinning. Got some yarn blanks to play around with, more hand combs from Indigo Hound. From what I understand, they're pretty well sought after, and they're kind of hard to get. I have the 5-pitch English combs now. And what else did I get? Oh, a Lazy Kate and...
With yarn on it.
With yarn on it. I don't know what it is, but there's yarn on it. We've kind of been increasing the spindle collection with different types.
In this room right now, we have a Turkish,
a Russian, a hybrid Mayan. Well, I guess we have, 3 top whorls? Mm-hmm. One is for spinning. It's a drop spindle for spinning cotton. So it's super lightweight and spins really fast and smooth, but the whorl is neither really at the top or the bottom.
It's in the middle.
It's kind of in the middle, so we'll call it a middle whorl.
And it's flat. It's like a tiny disc.
But it's been kind of fun to spin. I've never spun cotton, and this actually kind of takes some of the scare out of it. It's a walnut whorl with a birch shaft. The Russian spindle we have is spalted maple with a brass tip to help with smooth spinning.
Now, the Russian is supported.
Yes, it is a type of supported spindle.
So, of course, you had to get the bowl.
Yes, which is a white oak bowl. It was just very pretty. I saw it when I was looking, because I didn't have any bowls.
It's gorgeous.
I was looking for one, and I just happened to see it, and thought, I think I might need this one. Then we're using the hybrid Mayan spindle, which is made with hobilo wood. Is that correct? I don't know. But it's a beautiful kind of mahogany color. I'm kind of playing with that right now. Madeline's back on to the Turkish spindle.
I am finishing lace weight BFL to ply with Shetland lamb. So that will be in the shop soon. And speaking of shop, the Godflocker is launching his exclusive line.
I guess we can call it that. We're just including some of my hand-spun yarns along with Madeline's into the shop.
But you actually have your own page, or you will. It's very exciting.
Yes.
And all of his yarns are hand-spun.
Yes.
From a variety of fibers, some exotic, some wool, some alpaca.
Mostly wool, a little alpaca, little tinsel, little linen mixed in. Lots of different breeds.
And lots of different colors.
Yes, I like color, and I like mixing color in different ways, so you will see lots of different colors.
And the patterns are coming along.
Slowly but surely. First exclusive pattern for Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium should be a shawl. I was kind of working some of the kinks out and working on writing the pattern because I've never really written a pattern before. But that should be coming out shortly.
So let's talk about what we've got on the table before us besides my boring BFL. There's a bag of Dorper sitting at my feet.
And we have some Tussa silk blended with merino 50-50. We have some 100% Bombyx silk. We have the combed Cotswold that I brought. I'm currently on my top whorl that I hated for a really long time until I mixed it with some Devon long wool that I'm spinning right now, and it's delightful now.
The spindle is delightful.
Well, I don't dislike the fiber, but it is not merino, so it is.
The Devon is very different.
In keeping with the tradition of British long wools that we like, I found somebody that was selling Devon long wool. I mean, I've seen pictures of them in some of my breed books and stuff like that, but didn't really know anything about the fiber. So I decided we'll stick with some British long wools and give it a shot. It is probably one of the most hair-like types of fleece that I've ever worked with.
Definitely. It's not wearable, but I think it would be better for outerwear.
It might make great socks.
Durable, definitely.
Very durable socks. It has a little bit of a halo to it. I'm not spinning it worsted. I'm spinning it kind of a semi-woolen, so some of the edges are kind of sticking out, which gives it a little bit of a halo. I don't know, just kind of a very interesting breed. We also have here naturally colored brown Pima cotton
It's
for the
so
cotton spindle.
soft.
Well, Madeline hasn't spun it yet, so
No.
we'll have to see.
I'm scared. I've never spun cotton.
Well, I hadn't either. It's really nice and fluffy, so...
You've done such a nice job, I don't want to screw it up.
I purchased it on Etsy. Surprise, surprise. The seller was nice enough to include a sample of the cotton with the spindle. That's why I've been spinning it, although I do have some naturally colored green cotton at home. So that lovely little cotton spindle came from Resourceful Nomad in Arizona. She's got some very nice cottons and stuff listed on her page.
Thank you, Resourceful Nomad.
Yep. And the Russian-style spindle came from Maine Fiber Tools. All kinds of Russian spindles, Tibetan spindles, top whirl spindles, and they're all beautiful. Lots of different types of woods and wood combinations.
We haven't yet put any fiber on it.
No, not yet.
Because Brick had to rough it up a little bit.
Yes, the shaft was nicely polished, but it wasn't really gripping onto the fiber very well, so took a little bit of 220 sandpaper just to give it a little bit of texture so it would hold on a little bit better.
From my OCD collection.
Yes.
Brick thinks I'm weird because I keep my sandpaper in an expandable file and it is labeled by grit.
It's a little interesting to me. But
No, it's amazing. I can find exactly what I'm looking for.
for those with very detailed sandpaper needs.
Or who just like to be organized.
Yes.
Former library assistant kicking in.
Oh, we're going to try to learn a new technique that neither of us know anything about particularly.
But Brick has to wait for his caribou needle to get here.
Yes, so we're going to learn how to do null binding. I kind of first came across it when I was doing some research for Icelandic knitting and stuff like that. There's been some examples of it found in Iceland. I guess it was pretty common with the Vikings. So pretty much anywhere the Vikings were, null binding went. That'll probably be a little bit of a lengthy journey.
There's a sock on the front. I think we can make socks. We can get to socks. I have faith.
I barely have time to knit socks, let alone learn a new technique to make socks, so we'll see. And we did some shearing today.
We did. We took junipers and Pearl's fleeces, black and white.
And let me just say, Pearl's white is blindingly white.
A lot of white sheep tend to yellow or they're more ivory than white, but Pearl is absolutely blinding snow white.
Yeah. And on the opposite end of the spectrum is Juniper, who is jet black. But,
and she did pretty well for her first time.
Yeah. We're going to a wool gathering.
Yay, for my birthday.
We were supposed to be shearing next weekend.
But it's supposed to rain.
And so I suggested that for her birthday, instead of doing something work-related like shearing...
in the rain.
We would go up to Yellow Springs, Ohio, and go to a wool gathering. It's about a 3-hour drive for us, but that's not too bad.
No.
We're actually excited because some of the people that we've talked about on the podcast, like Turtle Made Spindles, will be there, and hopefully we can meet them in person and talk to them a little bit, and we can show off us using our spindles.
Which, by the way, hold up really well. Because it's so light and portable, it's been my spindle of choice for taking to school, so that's the one that I have the Norwegian Black Sheep on. I'm happy.
I'm just enjoying spinning that Devon long wool, even though it's kind of weird and different. Well, and I really have been enjoying the cotton spindle. It's been going very well as well.
It looks great. Nice and even.
If Madeline could just put the Turkish spindle down that she loves so much.
I'm trying to finish the biffle. One project at a time.
No, 17 at a time. Do it the Godflocker way. Yes.
I constructed your carder for you. Inaugural use went very well. I didn't know it came with bags of pieces.
You live, you learn.
But it's the Ashford Wild Carder.
Yes.
And I like it. It's a little bit lower priced than some drum carders, and it shows it's narrower. Some of the parts are plastic that on more expensive carders might be metal or wood. I like it for portability.
It's much smaller, much lighter weight.
You can do everything you could do on a bigger drum carder. Well, really the only thing that I didn't like about it, what do you call them? The feet things. Clamps. The metal piece that swings down that basically forms the clamp. I wish they were longer because I have yet to find a table
that's narrow enough for them.
Yes.
Yeah. I had that problem too. When I was setting up my hand cards to blend the Cotswold, I only had one counter that was narrow enough.
I also wish they were threaded on both ends. There's really nothing to keep that garter from slipping around. And if the little arms pop out of the holes, then you have to stop and unclamp it from the table and put it back together. But other than that, I like it. For the packing brush, there's storage underneath the garter. Let's see, you can take the sheets off to wash them, which a lot of the more expensive garters, I know you have to send it in or remove the drums and send them in and have them fixed or cleaned or whatever.
Reattached.
Yeah, that.
If you need to, like, get a new cloth.
So that's nice. That's handy. Someday you'll get to use it.
Yeah, hooray. I'm actually kind of having fun playing with my combs right now, so
I'm pretty excited for our road trip.
this will be our first road trip
It
together.
will. I'm so excited that you're ready to take the next step in our relationship.
I'm glad that we can both have some time off together to go do that.
It's a little vacation,
And it's fiber related, so we'll be happy.
and I don't have to feed it or pick up poop.
Yep. I acquired Vicuña fiber. I think I've only got somewhere in the range of like 6 or 8 ounces of it, and I won't even talk about how much was spent on it.
It was less than retail, so
It was less than retail, so I consider that a win. It is delightful, and I think it's just going to stay hidden away for a little while until I can figure out what to do with it.
I kind of hate that you didn't bring it so I could fondle
I
it.
thought about it, but I didn't want it to felt too early on.
Oh, well, alright.
Because we would both just be fondling it, so...
That's not something you spin every day.
It is not. So I was very happy to find it. If anybody has any tips out there, please feel free to share. It is extremely short staple length. I know I'm going to have to card it.
Shorter than Kivit?
Well, I've never actually held Kivit in my hands. I can't really answer that for you.
But you've held Paco Vicuña.
But I have Paco Vicuña and Vicuña.
I have this picture in my mind of Paco Vicuña, and he wears sunglasses and smokes a cigarillo.
And you say a Paco?
Yes, Paco the Vicuña. He only lowers the shades to bat his long eyelashes at the ladies.
Well, after feeling the fiber, I got so excited. I was like, okay, I think I might have to have some of these on my farm one day. Then I saw how much they cost, and I don't know if I will ever have them.
Should we make the giveaway this week for whoever can correctly guess what a Vicuña costs?
Vicuñas are a protected animal in South America,
This
so
is true.
they are staying there. I thought Paco Vicuñas were basically when domesticated alpacas escaped and mated with wild Vicuñas, and then they kind of had this hybrid baby. But then, after doing some research and reading some stuff, it seems as if they're actually just alpacas that have been bred to resemble Vicuñas and have fiber, color, and micron count similar to that of Vicuñas. Well, you know, here in the Louisville Zoo, we have guanacos.
We do.
And I've been debating whether or not to harass the zoo to see if I can get their fiber from them.
I think we should.
There was a lady, I guess that was a volunteer with the zoo, that had the hair off of a male orangutan. And I wanted to just be like, can I take that home and spin it and see? It's a little creepy when you just see any random fiber and you're just like, can I spin that? My dad's already told me that he's saving the fur from his dog so that I may spin it for him. And I said, what do you want made out of it? He said, I don't want anything. I just wanted it for you. I'm like, okay, well, thanks, Dad.
I had somebody do that to me last week at Days. I was sitting in the window and I was spinning the Norwegian Black on the 3D printed spindle, and this guy was outside petting his dog, and he looked up at me, pointed at the spindle, and pointed at the dog, and I was like, yeah, okay. But the reality is most dogs have way too much guard hair.
Well, I mean, you could still spin it.
You
It's just
could.
not going to be something you want to wear.
Well, and not
necessarily.
every dog or cat has a good staple length.
No,
Keyzond is supposed to make really good spinning fiber.
I've heard that.
In fact, I wanted one.
Well, why don't we focus on the 3 you have now?
Yeah, Daisy takes a lot of focus.
She'll be a good dog.
She will be a good dog. She's just young, and she has a lot of energy and not a lot of confidence.
So we'll work on that. She's still scared of me,
Nobody's afraid of the Godflocker.
except for Daisy.
Brick, you gave up the Russian spindle.
I did. Very quickly.
What
I think
happened?
I need to just play with it and get used to the spin a little bit more.
You don't look very happy with your top roll either.
I'm just trying to join fiber, that's all.
I feel your pain.
Things were going so well. And then I had to join fiber.
And now you've got a big chunk of fiber on the top.
No, I don't.
That's not
I
how
don't know
that's
what you're talking
supposed
about.
to go.
I do not have such a thing.
Breeding season's coming up.
We're discussing our potential matches.
I think I've got them in 2 groups.
And then there's what Brick wants to do.
Well, Brick needs to go get his flock of Cotswolds and Gulf Coast natives and Soays.
That would be nice, but I think I'm probably going to wait a little bit. So I got some odds and ends of...
It says wools and exotics.
And that's simply it. That doesn't tell me breeds or anything. And I got 5 bags of it. And they're all kind of different colors.
They're all natural dyed.
From what I understand they are.
From?
A Verb for Keeping Warm. She is in Oakland, I believe. She has lovely yarns.
And this fiber is packaged in coffee bags. So you have the little window and the rustic paper feel. I love it.
What I was thinking of doing is just kind of breaking it down into common kind of color groups and either foaming or carding it together to make kind of a custom blended color.
Ooh, whatever it's going to be, it will be gorgeous.
Well, the fibers are nice, and the colors are nice, so it's just kind of seeing how they mix up. Well, if anybody's at a wool gathering next Sunday, we will be there. Unfortunately, we can only go for the day. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk with some people.
And we'll have our drop spindles, I'm sure.
Among other things, I'll probably be crocheting my shawl that I've been working on forever.
But it is getting bigger, and it's pretty.
Yes, slowly but surely. Don't you love when you're making a gift for someone and it ends up taking way longer than you anticipated?
Isn't that the story of anything handmade?
Well, I'm going to try to make a sweater for my stepmother for Christmas because I gave my dad a sweater for his birthday, and I think it's kind of hateful to not make anything like that for her. She wanted a big infinity cowl, and I made that for her. I think she wanted something a little more substantial. I think I've already got the yarn picked out of my stash, so I can downsize the stash a little bit more since I'm clearly still making it larger.
The basement of holding?
Yes, of course it's in the basement of holding.
You know, I got fan mail this week.
You got fan mail?
I got fan mail. And it's nice to know that people are listening to us out there. Well, hopefully you're getting something out of it.
Yes. Let us know if you're tired of hearing the Godflocker, because I have the fear that I'm overstaying my welcome in Madeline's show.
I really don't think so, because you have the resources to get a lot more equipment and a lot more different types of fiber than I do, so that's nice to share. Oh, and that's a conversation we need to have in the future.
Choosing the right fiber for the right project?
Which I know is something that people discuss. It goes a little bit deeper than just choosing wool over cotton over acrylic.
It's choosing the right type of wool.
Right.
It's choosing the right type of spin. It's choosing the right
weight. It's knowing how long you want that project to last for and how you want it to look. If it's something that you want to felt over time versus something that you want to look exactly the same, or durability versus softness.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about doing breed-specific stuff and finding breed-specific producers, is that you can then know what that's great for.
And hey, if you experiment and it's not exactly what you want, there's always someone in your life who would be happy to get a handmade item.
Yeah.
Or you can donate it to a charity.
So we'll probably discuss that in a future podcast.
We're also gearing up. I think I'm going to show a couple of fleeces, well, one fleece, in the North American International Livestock Exhibition this year, which of course is held at the fairgrounds in Louisville, Kentucky in November. So be sure to come to that for Sheep Week. Is it a whole week? There's Wool Day, there's
It goes
Natural
from
Color.
the 12th till the 20th, I want to say, November.
It's always in November.
Okay.
All kinds of sheep from all across America and Canada. So it's a fabulous place if you want to know more about a specific breed or you just want to see them up close and in person. Go, peruse.
They have Shetland Day.
They do have
They have a Shetland show. They have a Cotswold show, which I'm excited about. They have natural colored sheep. They have the wool show. They have Suffolks, Hampshires, Border Leicesters.
And of course they've got fleece shows. They
have spinning demonstrations. I know that.
So lots to see and to do.
Probably need to try and save up some money so I can get a couple fleeces.
And if you're planning to be at NAIL, please let us know. Shout out on Facebook or Ravelry or website or however you want to do that, and let us know so we can meet you.
If there's a whole crew, maybe we'll go out to dinner or something.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, we'll do a huge knit-in at some of the unsuspecting restaurant here in Louisville and scare them all.
Ooh, your socks are beautiful. They're alpaca socks, and the toes and heels are...
The toes and heels are made out of, I believe it's BFL and nylon.
So pretty.
It's from Into the World. I bought it from them at Rhinebeck last year. And I made my partner, Zach, a shawl. The main color was the stuff from Into the World, and the kind of contrast color was the alpaca. And I had enough left over, so I made myself a pair of socks.
That's awesome.
It's kind of through my experimental phase of what kind of socks do I like to make the best and what fit the best. These are an afterthought heel pattern. So you basically knit a tube, put in a temporary yarn where the heel's supposed to go. Then you take that out, pick up the stitches, and start knitting a heel.
That's cool.
I've done flap and gusset. I've been working on a short row heel, and I'm really not a fan. For some reason, I just can't think long enough to do it, but I usually try to do that when I'm going to bed.
Oh.
It doesn't really help because my brain's already tired by the end of the day.
First, I want to talk about the first knit-along that I'm doing, which isn't actually mine. It's called the Scoreboard Knit-Along. And you can find more information in the show notes or on the brand new Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium Ravelry group. So head over there and join. There's a question in there. We're putting some kits together for the shawls. It'll be using a cashmere yarn, so it will be gorgeous. And we'd like to know what colors you'd like in the kit. And then also this knit along, which is pretty fabulous, I think. I happen to be a football fan. And if any of you are into football or have family members, friends, or loved ones that are, this is a great way for you to prepare an easy Christmas gift. It's a scarf, and what you do is you choose your team's colors, go get yarn in those colors, and then choose which one represents your team's points and which one represents the opposing team's points. So throughout the season, you keep track, and every week you basically record the points in the scarf. So at the end of the season, you have a really cool way to remember. I think it's going to be great fun, and I'm excited. So head over to the Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium Ravelry group, or you can look in the show notes at ballyhoofiberemporium.com, and there'll be more information on that. I'd like to thank our new listeners. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for the beautiful fan mail that you sent me this week. That was really touching. It made my week. This week had a lot of ups and downs, so I needed something happy in the mail. Thank you. And also fabulous people online who posted comments. Welcome. Shout out. Let me know you're out there. It's nice to know that I'm not just talking to empty space, that I'm actually reaching people, human people. As Brick and I mentioned, we will be at a wool gathering this weekend on Sunday at Young's Jersey Dairy in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Reach out to us on social media. Let us know if you're going and if you'd like to meet up, and we can certainly do that. We would love to meet some of you. We're really looking forward to meeting some of the people whose products we have used in the past and putting faces with the fabulous fiber and spindles and combs and other items. I also want to announce, if you are interested in raising sheep or goats, it doesn't have to be for fiber, and you live in the state of Kentucky, it is not too late to register for the Small Ruminants Profit School. The first class is September 26th. I believe there are, I want to say 5 classes. Head over to the website. Again, that's listed in the show notes, and sign up. If you know someone who could profit from some further information and tips from people who have been there, done that, go ahead and pass the info along. Congratulations to Shelley for winning last week's Penny Candy giveaway. Get in touch with me, Shelley, and let me know how I can get that to you. Today's Penny Candy is going to be a pack of mini skeins from Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium. Those are various hand-spun yarns in a variety of colors and weights. They would be great for trim or small projects like toys or anything that you just want to throw several different colors into. In order to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment or question on the Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium show notes. Thanks again to my guest for this week, Joan Beck. I really enjoyed talking to her, as always. And thanks again to the Godflocker for bringing several new toys and fibers over. My stash of spinning fibers is growing exponentially, which excites me. I've been working on the new colorway, and I don't quite have it the way I want it yet. It's provided some interesting attempts that are lovely. Not what I was going for, but lovely nonetheless. So those will be available as well. But I'm not quite where I want to be. So I'm playing with that. I have wonderful bits and pieces to card together and spin into something. And I'm staring at this 1 pound bag of silk merino, trying to decide what that needs to be. I'm going to be done with the BFL this week. In fact, my goal for today is to get that on the wheel and plied with the Shetland. See, it's good for me to do this. It keeps me accountable. Remember, you can find show notes, comment, and read more about Joan Beck, Fiber Frenzy, and a host of other things at ballyhoofiberemporium.com. You can follow Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium on Facebook and Instagram, or join our Ravelry group. If you like what you've heard today, please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes or Podcast Republic. Let me know you're out there. I'm always looking for talented people in the fiber industry to interview, fabulous prizes to give away, and fiber businesses who would like to become sponsors. If any of these sound like you, visit the contact page of the Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium website. Have a great week, and remember, spin everywhere.